U.S. military personnel to train Mexican military units.
With active duty U.S. troops currently on Mexican soil, tensions have never been higher.
10 members of the U.S. Army were allowed to enter Mexico. They'll train units referred to as SEMAR Special Operations Forces.
Trump's new administration is determined to crush cartels from their roots, but these criminal organizations aren't about to sit down and surrender their territories. As they shiver in fear of how far Trump is willing to go to destroy them, they are also arming themselves with the best weapons money can buy. The stakes are high, and an all-out war with special forces might be the only way to protect the border and the United States. Panic as U.S. Special Forces land in Mexico. Fear of uncertainty has erupted as U.S. Special Forces make a surprising landing in Mexico, a move that has captured global attention. This deployment is part of a scheduled Marine infantry training exercise, set to occur from February 17th to March 30th at the Luis Carpizo Naval Facility in Campeche, or so it would seem. The historical context of this event is crucial, as Mexico has long maintained a guarded stance towards American troops, a sentiment rooted in the 1848 territorial loss to the United States, a period marked by the Mexican-American War. This conflict culminated in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848, resulting in Mexico ceding nearly half of its territory to the United States, including present-day California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. This significant territorial loss has left an unforgettable mark on Mexico's national consciousness, fostering a deep-seated wariness towards American military intentions. The recent landing of U.S. Special Forces in Mexico for Marine infantry training represents a notable departure from this historical norm. This development reflects a growing recognition of the need for strategic partnerships in addressing contemporary security challenges. The training exercise, taking place at the Luis Carpizo Naval Facility in Campeche, signifies a step towards greater military cooperation between the two nations. It reflects an evolving dynamic in U.S.-Mexico relations, where mutual interests in combating drug trafficking and organized crime necessitate collaborative efforts, addressing shared security challenges in the region. The primary objective of this collaboration is to equip Mexican forces with advanced tactical skills and knowledge, enabling them to effectively combat organized crime and drug trafficking. The training encompasses a comprehensive range of military disciplines, including urban warfare, counterinsurgency tactics, and intelligence operations. By sharing expertise and best practices, the U.S. Special Forces aim to bolster the proficiency and readiness of their Mexican counterparts. As the training unfolds, both nations anticipate tangible outcomes in terms of improved operational capabilities and enhanced interoperability between their military forces. However, given the current tensions between both countries, some citizens are skeptical about the entire arrangement. The presence of U.S. Special Forces in Mexico has elicited a range of reactions. Within the political arena, Senator Alejandro Moreno Cardenas has emerged as a key figure, providing official statements to clarify the nature and objectives of the training mission. He emphasizes the strategic importance of this collaboration in enhancing Mexico's military capabilities and addressing shared security threats. Despite these assurances, the arrival of U.S. troops has sparked a lively political discourse, with opinions divided across the board. Some political figures and analysts view the training exercise as a positive step towards strengthening bilateral ties and improving Mexico's ability to combat organized crime. They argue that the expertise and resources provided by U.S. Special Forces are invaluable in bolstering national security. On the other hand, there are voices of skepticism and concern, rooted in Mexico's historical wariness of foreign military presence. Critics question the implications of allowing U.S. troops on Mexican soil, citing issues of sovereignty and potential over-reliance on American military support. These concerns are echoed by segments of the Mexican public, who remain cautious about the long-term impact of such collaborations. Security experts offer nuanced perspectives, acknowledging the benefits of enhanced military training while urging careful consideration of the broader geopolitical context. They highlight the importance of maintaining a balanced approach that respects Mexico's autonomy while fostering effective partnerships to address transnational security challenges. The training provided by U.S. Special Forces in Mexico is poised to play a pivotal role in the nation's ongoing battle against drug trafficking and organized crime. These issues have long plagued Mexico, posing significant threats to national security and public safety. The pervasive influence of powerful drug cartels and criminal organizations has resulted in widespread violence, corruption, and instability, necessitating robust and effective countermeasures. measures. By focusing on areas such as urban warfare, intelligence operations, and counterinsurgency tactics, the training aims to enhance the operational capabilities of Mexican forces, enabling them to conduct more effective and targeted operations against criminal networks. One of the key benefits of this collaboration is the opportunity for Mexican forces to learn from the extensive experience and expertise of U.S. Special Forces. Additionally, the training fosters greater interoperability between U.S. and Mexican forces, facilitating coordinated efforts in joint operations and intelligence sharing initiatives. The potential impact of this training extends beyond immediate tactical gains. By strengthening Mexico's military capabilities, the mission contributes to broader efforts to dismantle drug cartels and disrupt the flow of illicit substances across borders. This, in turn, enhances regional security and stability, benefiting both Mexico and its neighboring countries. The U.S. Special Forces training mission in Mexico carries significant strategic implications for the broader U.S.-Mexico relationship, particularly in the realms of immigration and border security. These issues have long been central to bilateral discussions, with both nations striving to balance security concerns with humanitarian considerations. Under President Trump's administration in 2025, the United States has maintained a firm stance on immigration control and border security, emphasizing the need to curb illegal crossings and address the flow of fentanyl and other illicit substances. This has led to heightened political pressures on Mexico to enhance its own border enforcement measures and collaborate more closely with U.S. authorities. The training mission serves as a tangible manifestation of this collaborative approach, reinforcing the commitment of both nations to address shared security challenges. The logistical execution of the U.S. Special Forces training mission in Mexico is a testament to the meticulous planning and coordination required for such a complex operation. Central to this mission is the Luis Carpizo Naval Facility in Campeche, a state-of-the-art training center renowned for its comprehensive military infrastructure. This facility provides an ideal environment for conducting advanced marine infantry training, equipped with cutting-edge technology and resources to support a wide range of tactical exercises. The success of the training mission hinges on the collaborative efforts of both the U.S. and Mexican governments, each contributing vital resources to ensure its smooth execution. The U.S. Special Forces bring with them a wealth of expertise, specialized equipment, and training materials designed to enhance the operational capabilities of Mexican forces. This includes advanced weaponry, communication systems, and surveillance technology, all integral to modern military training. On the Mexican side, the government has committed significant resources to facilitate the training, including logistical support, transportation, and personnel. The coordination between U.S. and Mexican military officials is crucial, involving detailed planning and communication to align objectives, schedules, and operational protocols. The U.S. Special Forces training mission in Mexico has garnered attention not only within the two nations involved, but also from neighboring countries and international bodies. Neighboring countries, particularly those in Central America, have expressed interest in the outcomes of the training mission, recognizing its potential to enhance regional security. The presence of U.S. Special Forces in Mexico is seen as a positive step towards strengthening the capabilities of Mexican forces, which in turn contributes to the stability and security of the broader region. Countries such as Guatemala and Belize, which share borders with Mexico, have acknowledged the importance of collaborative efforts in combating organized crime and drug trafficking, issues that transcend national boundaries. International organizations, including the Organization of American States, OAS, have also weighed in on the training mission, highlighting its alignment with broader regional security initiatives. The OAS has emphasized the need for cooperative approaches to address shared security challenges, advocating for increased collaboration and information sharing among member states. While the arrival of troops in Mexico has been advertised as a routine training exercise, some experts worry that it may be a pretext for violence. This is especially so considering the escalating tensions between both countries and the latest event at the Texas border. Tensions escalate at Texas border. A few weeks ago, a dramatic and dangerous confrontation unfolded at a remote section of the Texas border near the town of Roma. This area, known for its challenging terrain and strategic importance, became the backdrop for a fierce shootout between Mexican cartel members and American border security agents. The incident erupted when Border Patrol officers, conducting a routine surveillance operation, encountered a group of heavily armed cartel operatives attempting to cross into the United States. The following exchange of gunfire was intense, with both sides sides engaging in a prolonged battle under the scorching sun. The cartel members, determined to protect their smuggling route, fought hard. However, the border security agents, equipped with superior training and resources, managed to eliminate the threat, securing the area and preventing the cartel from advancing further. The specific border area near Roma, Texas, where the recent shootout occurred, holds significant strategic importance for both law enforcement and cartel operations. This region, characterized by its rugged terrain and dense vegetation, presents unique challenges for border security efforts. Its remote location and limited infrastructure make it an ideal crossing point for cartels seeking to evade detection and transport illicit goods into the United States. Cartels target these locations due to their relative isolation and the natural cover provided by the landscape, which allows them to move contraband with reduced risk of interception. The Rio Grande River, which snakes through this area, serves as both a natural barrier and a convenient smuggling route, further complicating enforcement efforts. The proximity to major highways and transportation networks on the American side also enhances the appeal of these border areas, facilitating the swift distribution of drugs and other illegal commodities once they cross into the United States. Cartels employ a wide array of tactics to smuggle goods across the Texas border, constantly adapting to evade detection by border security agents. These criminal organizations are known for their ingenuity and resourcefulness, utilizing both traditional and high-tech methods to transport contraband. One common tactic involves the use of tunnels, some stretching for miles, equipped with ventilation and lighting systems to facilitate the movement of drugs and people beneath the border. In addition to subterranean routes, cartels frequently employ mules, or individuals who carry drugs on their person or in vehicles. These couriers often use legitimate border crossings, relying on false documentation or hidden compartments to bypass security checks. Drones have also become a favored tool, allowing cartels to fly small quantities of drugs over the border undetected. Furthermore, cartels exploit the vast stretches of unmonitored borderland, using all-terrain vehicles and boats to transport goods across remote areas. In response to these sophisticated smuggling techniques, border security agents are enhancing their strategies and resources. Advanced surveillance technologies such as drones, thermal imaging cameras, and ground sensors are being deployed to monitor and detect illegal activities. Increased collaboration with Mexican authorities and intelligence sharing initiatives aim to disrupt cartel operations before they reach the border. Additionally, specialized training programs are equipping agents with the skills needed to identify and counteract the latest smuggling methods. Despite these efforts, the ongoing cat-and-mouse game between cartels and border security remains a formidable challenge, requiring constant vigilance and innovation. Local communities and law enforcement in Texas border towns play a crucial role in managing the fallout from cartel violence and the intensified border security operations. These towns, often on the front line of the conflict, bear the brunt of the violence and disruption that accompany the ongoing struggle between cartels and law enforcement. Residents live under the constant threat of violence, with the sounds of gunfire and the presence of heavily armed patrols becoming a part of daily life. Local law enforcement agencies, often working with limited resources, are tasked with maintaining order and ensuring the safety of their communities. They collaborate closely with federal agencies, sharing intelligence and participating in joint operations to combat cartel activities. These partnerships are vital in addressing the complex challenges posed by organized crime and ensuring a coordinated response to incidents of violence. Community leaders and organizations also play a significant role in supporting residents affected by the violence. They provide essential services, such as counseling and support for victims, and work to foster resilience and solidarity among community members. Educational programs and outreach initiatives aim to raise awareness about the dangers of cartel involvement and promote alternatives for at-risk youth. The escalating tensions at the Texas border have far-reaching international implications, significantly impacting United States-Mexico relations. The persistent violence and illegal activities along the border reflect the need for robust diplomatic efforts and collaboration between the two nations. As neighbors with deeply intertwined economies and cultures, the stability and security of the border region are of paramount importance to both countries. The United States and Mexico have engaged in various diplomatic initiatives to address the challenges posed by cartel violence and border security. Bilateral agreements and joint task forces have been established to enhance cooperation in combating drug trafficking and human smuggling. These efforts involve intelligence sharing, coordinated law enforcement operations, and capacity-building programs aimed at strengthening Mexico's ability to tackle organized crime within its borders. However, the differing approaches to border security and immigration policies have occasionally strained diplomatic relations. The United States' focus on stringent stringent border enforcement and the construction of physical barriers has been met with criticism from Mexican officials, who advocate for addressing the root causes of migration and crime through economic development and social programs. The economic impact of border tensions on trade and commerce between the United States and Mexico is profound, particularly in the border regions where commerce is a lifeline for local economies. The Texas border, a critical artery for bilateral trade, sees billions of dollars in goods crossing daily, facilitated by a network of highways, railways, and ports of entry. However, the escalating violence and increased security measures have introduced significant challenges to this vital economic exchange. Heightened security protocols, including thorough inspections and increased patrols, have led to delays at border crossings. These bottlenecks disrupt the flow of goods, affecting supply chains and increasing costs for businesses on both sides. Industries reliant on just-in-time delivery systems, such as automotive and electronics manufacturing, are particularly vulnerable to these disruptions, which can lead to production delays and financial losses. Moreover, the perception of instability and violence can deter investment in tourism in border regions, further impacting local economies. Businesses may face higher insurance premiums and security costs, while potential investors might be wary of committing resources to areas perceived as high risk. To effectively reduce tensions at the Texas border and address the root causes of the conflict, a multifaceted approach is essential. Long-term solutions must go beyond immediate security measures and focus on comprehensive strategies that tackle the underlying issues driving cartel activity and migration. One potential solution involves enhancing economic development and opportunities in regions most affected by violence and poverty. By investing in education, infrastructure, and job creation, both the United States and Mexico can help reduce the economic disparities that fuel migration and make communities vulnerable to cartel influence. Finally, creating safe and legal pathways for migration is essential in ensuring the humane treatment of migrants and asylum seekers. Streamlining the asylum process, expanding refugee resettlement programs, and establishing temporary worker programs can provide alternatives to dangerous and illegal crossings. It's important to note that the Biden administration did try many of these methods, but it only made things worse. The administration's compassionate stance on illegal migration led to a significant rise in the number of illegal migrants in the country. Border stages had to spend millions accommodating these illegal migrants, and the compassionate laws made it easier for just anyone to cross the border, cartel mules, or legitimate asylum seekers alike. It was on this basis that Trump won the presidential elections and returned to the White House for a second term. Citizens and long-term residents were simply tired and wanted a more direct and aggressive approach to dealing with illegal migration and cartels. Everyone expected tensions to escalate after Trump returned to the White House, since many of his primary campaign promises had to do with the deportation of illegal immigrants and the elimination of cartel violence. But how far is the Trump administration willing to go to fulfill its campaign promises? Trump comes for cartels and immigrants. As Donald Trump stepped back into the presidency, one of his first and most controversial actions was the declaration of illegal immigration in the U.S.-Mexico border as a national emergency. This bold move is not entirely unexpected, given Trump's long-standing focus on border security and immigration reform. However, the implications of this declaration are profound, setting the stage for a series of aggressive policies aimed at curbing illegal immigration and securing the nation's borders. The declaration of a national emergency is a powerful tool that grants the president significant authority to address what he perceives as a crisis. For Trump, the situation at the southern border is nothing short of a catastrophe, with illegal crossings and drug trafficking posing a direct threat to national security. By declaring a national emergency, Trump is able to bypass certain legislative hurdles and allocate resources more swiftly to tackle the issue head-on. In the days following the declaration, the administration moved quickly to implement a range of measures designed to stem the tide of illegal immigration. One of the most immediate actions is the deployment of additional resources to the border, including the mobilization of 1,500 active duty troops. These troops are tasked with supporting Border Patrol agents in maintaining control and addressing any disruptions caused by criminal cartels. For many, it is a controversial decision, raising questions about the militarization of the border and the potential for human rights violations. However, for Trump's supporters, it is a necessary step to protect the nation and uphold the rule of law. Critics of the National Emergency Declaration administration argue that it is an overreach of executive power and a distraction from more pressing domestic issues. They contend that the situation at the border does not constitute a true emergency and that the resources could be better spent addressing other national concerns. However, for Trump and his supporters, the declaration is a necessary response to a long-standing problem that has been ignored for too long. As if declaring an emergency at the border was not enough, Trump has signed an executive order designating criminal cartels as terrorist organizations. This decision marks a significant escalation in the fight against the powerful and violent networks that have long operated along the U.S.-Mexico border. By labeling these cartels as terrorists, Trump is opening the door to a range of military and legal actions that were previously off-limits, fundamentally altering the dynamics of U.S. law enforcement and foreign policy. The rationale behind this bold move is rooted in the immense threat that cartels pose to national security. These organizations are not merely criminal enterprises. They are sophisticated, well-armed, and highly organized groups that engage in a wide array of illicit activities, including drug trafficking, human smuggling, and money laundering. This designation allows for the application of counterterrorism laws and resources, enabling a more aggressive approach to dismantling these networks. It also facilitates greater cooperation with international partners, as the U.S. seeks to build a coalition to combat the cartel threat on a global scale. One of the immediate implications of this designation is the potential for increased military involvement in anti-cartel operations. The U.S. military, with its vast resources and expertise, can now play a more direct role in targeting cartel leaders and disrupting their operations. This includes the use of advanced surveillance technology, intelligence gathering, and precision strikes to weaken the cartel's infrastructure and leadership. The designation also enhances the legal tools available to U.S. law enforcement agencies. Authorities can now pursue cartel members with the same vigor and resources used against terrorist groups, including the ability to freeze assets, impose travel bans, and prosecute individuals under terrorism-related charges. One of the most contentious issues Trump is addressing is the automatic citizenship granted to U.S.-born children of immigrants who are in the country illegally. This policy, often referred to as birthright citizenship, has been a cornerstone of American immigration law, rooted in the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. However, Trump's renewed focus on this issue signals a potential shift in the interpretation and application of this long-standing principle. The 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. This clause has historically been interpreted to mean that anyone born on U.S. soil is automatically granted citizenship, regardless of the immigration status of their parents. For decades, this interpretation has been a source of both pride and controversy, symbolizing America's identity as a nation of immigrants while also sparking debates over its implications for immigration policy. Trump believes that it incentivizes illegal immigration and undermines the integrity of the nation's borders. By targeting this policy, Trump aims to address what he sees as a loophole that allows individuals to exploit the system and gain citizenship through unlawful means. His administration argues that the current interpretation of the 14th Amendment is outdated and does not reflect the realities of modern immigration challenges. To challenge birthright citizenship, Trump is exploring various legal and legislative avenues. One potential approach is to issue an executive order that redefines the criteria for citizenship, although such a move would likely face immediate legal challenges and require judicial review. Another possibility is to work with Congress to pass legislation that clarifies the interpretation of the 14th Amendment, though this would require significant political support and negotiation. The prospect of altering birthright citizenship has ignited fierce debates across the nation. Supporters of Trump's stance argue that it is a necessary step to uphold the rule of law and ensure that citizenship is granted based on merit and legal compliance. They contend that the current policy creates an unfair burden on taxpayers and strains public resources, as it allows individuals to gain citizenship without adhering to the legal immigration process. Opponents, however, view the targeting of birthright citizenship as an attack on fundamental American values and a violation of constitutional rights. They argue that the policy is a vital part of the nation's identity, promoting inclusivity and diversity. Critics also warn that changing the interpretation of the 14th Amendment could lead to a slippery slope of eroding civil liberties and setting a dangerous precedent for future constitutional challenges. President Trump has also signed an executive order expected to suspend the U.S. refugee resettlement program for 4 months. This decision is part of a broader strategy to overhaul the immigration system and prioritize national security, reflecting Trump's commitment to addressing what he perceives as vulnerabilities in the current refugee admission process. The suspension of the refugee resettlement program is aimed at providing the administration with the time needed to review and strengthen the vetting procedures for individuals seeking refuge in the United States. Trump and his advisors argue that the existing system is inadequate in ensuring that those admitted do not pose a threat to national security. By temporarily halting the program, the administration intends to implement more rigorous screening measures to prevent potential security risks. The executive order outlines a comprehensive review of the refugee admission process, focusing on enhancing background checks and improving information sharing with international partners. This includes a thorough examination of the criteria used to determine eligibility for refugee status, as well as the procedures for verifying the identities and backgrounds of applicants. The goal is to create a more robust and secure system that can effectively identify and mitigate potential threats. Supporters of the suspension argue that it is a necessary step to protect American citizens and ensure the integrity of the nation's borders. They contend that the current refugee resettlement program is susceptible to exploitation by individuals with malicious intent, and that a temporary pause is essential to address these vulnerabilities. For Trump's base, this decision is seen as a fulfillment of his promise to prioritize national security and put American interests first. However, the suspension of the refugee resettlement program has also drawn significant criticism from humanitarian organizations, advocacy groups, and political opponents. Critics argue that the decision undermines America's long-standing tradition of offering refuge to those fleeing persecution and conflict. They warn that the suspension could have dire consequences for vulnerable populations, leaving thousands of refugees in limbo and exacerbating global humanitarian crises. Thanks for watching. Check out the other cards on the screen.